Hello and welcome to the Toffee Blues, your source for all things Everton. And this is the latest transfer rumour roundup and just any other news roundup surrounding Everton. As obviously we're coming up to the season beginning next week, but obviously transfer rumours still abound, and I know a lot of fans, myself included, are still hoping to get a few more names over the line after quite a busy week, to be fair, in comparison to the rest of the window for us, especially with Vinagre arriving in on loan and Dwight McNeil signing permanently from Burnley in midweek, both of whom featured yesterday against Dynamo Kiev. McNeil getting on the score sheet twice, of course, and Vinagre getting an assist for that second McNeil goal. So definitely some positive signs for the signings we've brought in so far. But let's look ahead to who we might be bringing in the future. So, of course, dominating the news today and has been probably for the last few days now, a return for Idrissa Gana Gueye. Paul Joyce has stated earlier today that we are indeed in talks with Idrissa Gueye, and the Athletic have added to that with some further details suggesting PSG in particular, looking more at a permanent deal. I think Everton initially wanted a loan deal with the option of signing permanently at the end once our finances have sorted themselves out a bit more. But PSG apparently want more of a permanent deal. Wages might be a bit of a sticking point with that. I'm not entirely sure the exact figure, but I can imagine he's on quite a bit at PSG. But it would look to be about 2 to 3 years, which of course is not it's not ideal for a 32-year-old. You don't know. I mean, obviously, Gueye's a very active, energetic player, and obviously, we've seen from the season, look at him in the Champions League and in league matches and that he's still got a lot in those legs, even at 32 years of age. But it is always a bit of a risk signing a player of that age on a long-term deal. So I'm sure Everton will be probably trying to look to get that down, maybe down to 2 years max. I'm not sure, but yeah, definitely negotiations seem to be strong for that, and we do definitely seem interested. All parties seem interested. PSG are happy to let him go. Idrissa Gueye seems open to returning to the club, and it's not entirely. I think we'd need another midfielder to come in for him to work. I don't think the system we seem to have at the moment with just two centre mids, I don't know how effective he'd be, especially if, say, you had someone like Iwobi next to him, much more attack-minded player. If Gueye could carry that burden all by himself, obviously a much more defensive-minded player, but not exactly got that holding role. He likes to roam about the pitch, winning tackles all over the pitch. He's not exactly that holding, sitting in front of the midfielder type player that I think we maybe need. Or we could maybe, if we had two defensive-minded players in the centre mid, say with an Allen or someone else coming in, could make it more effective. So it remains to be seen. But I'm definitely open to this deal, and a poll on the Toffee Blues Twitter definitely suggests that the majority are returning to happy. 91% so far. The poll's been going on for just 3 hours, so there's still 21 hours left if you want to go over to Twitter and have your say. This is out of over 2,400 people have voted so far, and as I say, 91% happy with this deal. So definitely an overwhelmingly positive one if that goes ahead, I'm sure. But a less than positive rumour that has been making all the headlines the last few days has been somewhat quashed again by the Athletic. Another former Everton midfielder, Ross Barkley, who's of course currently at Chelsea, has been linked with a return. I think it would appear Chelsea would pretty much be happy to just let him go, minimal fee involved, if any. But I know a lot of fans, myself included, were not keen on this at all. I don't think he adds much to us. I think he'd be on too high wages for a player of his quality. And that's not even to mention the fact that obviously the very controversial manner in which he departed. So I think the Athletic pretty much quashing that rumour today and saying we are not interested in it. I think a lot of people will be very pleased with. So that hopefully will be the end of that one. But moving on, another name that has been It's just been in and out the last few weeks, constantly, really. Billy Gilmore, another Chelsea midfielder, of course, a loan deal. The Daily Mail has suggested that we are apparently still interested in. Definitely would obviously be a loan deal, and I doubt Chelsea would want to let him go anyway. But of course, we're not in a position to spend the kind of money that would be able to prize him away from Stamford Bridge anyway. So it would definitely be a loan deal, and I'm unsure on this one myself. It's got to be said. I mean, obviously it's been suggested he'd be that holding midfielder I mentioned earlier, but I'm not entirely sure he's got the capability for that role. But maybe him and a Gilmore and Gueye combination could maybe work. You know, two kind of defensive-minded players, kind of covering each other, kind of makes up for that lack of a holding midfielder. Perhaps I'm not entirely sure how I feel about that one. Let us know your thoughts in the comments, and we'll see how that one progresses in the next few days. Sport Witness have said that Everton have an agreement with the player in Maxwell Cornet. Apparently agreed a deal of he'd be on 67k a week if he did go to Goodison. Apparently, these are figures being suggested, but we are still struggling to agree terms with Burnley, who of course we well, not exactly signed Tarkowski, but Tarkowski's contract expired, and then we got Tarkowski pretty much as a free agent, although the deal was agreed while he was still contracted to Burnley. And of course, signed Dwight McNeil, another winger, earlier this week. So I'm sure Burnley will be keen to ensure that they get as much money out of Cornet as possible if he is going to go to Goodison. Obviously, he's got that release clause in place, 17.5 million, which we don't seem keen on hitting. And based on the numbers suggested in this deal, doesn't really make too much sense to me. We've apparently made a initial bid of 14 million up front with 3.3 million in add-ons, and like kind of like at this point it just seems like we're being petty almost, and just don't seem to want to hit that 17.5 million exact that it would take for Burnley to just be unable to stand in his way. So I'm intrigued to see where that one goes. I'm not entirely sure how much truth there is in this from Sport Witness, so it'll be interesting to see how that progresses over the next few days. I know a lot of other clubs are interested in Cornet, and of course, if they'll put a lot of them will be in better financial positions, and will of course be able to stump up that 17.5 million straight up. That that means that Burnley can have no more say in what happens, and it's all down to the player. So I think we're going to have to move quick and more decisively if we're going to get this man over. But I'm not entirely sure how much we need another winger, to be honest. I think if we're going to get another attacking player, you'd want more of a striker, I think. Obviously, got Calvert-Lewin, but I'm not sure how much of a goal scorer Cornet is. Obviously, Emmanuel Dennis has been linked earlier in the window. So, yeah, it remains to be seen where we go with that. But speaking of a striker and the final one here today, Graham Bailey has suggested we are interested in Michy Batshuayi, which is a name I'm sure a lot of us have almost forgotten. Obviously, it was the type of name we'd be linked with every window about 4 or 5 years ago, but that seems to have died off as his time at Chelsea's kind of dwindled away. I know he's had a few rather unsuccessful loan spells the last few years. I'm not sure how much truth there is in this one either, and I don't really see the point in it. I think again he'd be on a lot of wages for a player of his caliber. And yeah, I don't think he's shown enough in the last few years to warrant giving him that. I don't know how much Chelsea would want. I imagine, again, similar to Barkley, they wouldn't want much. It does seem to be almost, with the Frank Lampard connection, that any sort of player that's not firmly in Chelsea's first team plans is just being linked with Everton. And the thing about this is that obviously Lampard had Batshuayi at Chelsea, and of course had him when in his first season when they weren't able to buy any players when they had that embargo placed on them, and yet he still didn't play Batshuayi much. He preferred Tammy Abraham, so I'm not entirely sure how much Lampard rates him, which again makes me doubt this even more. Really, a poll went up yesterday about this as well, about asking Everton fans their thoughts, and it was actually a lot closer than I expected it to be. I voted unhappy. I wasn't, because I'm not, as I've said before, I'm not entirely convinced how good of a signing he'd be. But it was very split, and only just edged into the unhappy bit, with 50.6% saying that they'd be unhappy with that deal. So interesting to see. Let us know your thoughts. Let us know if you think Michy Batshuayi would be. I'm sure it'd be a backup. Can't see him starting over ahead of Calvert-Lewin. So yeah, let us know your thoughts in the comments and about all the other rumours mentioned in this video. But that is the end of this transfer rumour slash news roundup for today. Please leave a like if you enjoyed and subscribe for more Toffee Blues content, and we'll see you in the next one. Cheers.